First day we discussed the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. Second day we discussed the science of soul, part 1. So today we'll be continuing the topic of science of soul, part 2. Okay. So yesterday basically we discussed about the science of soul. That who am I? Actually, I'm not this physical body which we see, but I'm the spirit soul within the heart, and I'm also covered by subtle body and gross body. Subtle body is Manobuddhi Ahankara, and gross bodies earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the Panch Mahabhuta. And we also saw uh, that how the body is worth just 110 rupees, but soul is invaluable. So, and the difference between living body and dead body. So all that we saw. So today we'll be going to discuss some of the scientific proofs of the existence of soul. How can I believe that soul exists? So that's the topic of today's discussion, and today I'll be discussing some of the very interesting facts, and I'll show some videos of the people who remember their past lives. I'll begin with prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll be sharing a screen which I can see here. So the science of the topic is scientific proofs for existence of an anti-material personality. So material personality means the body which we see. Anti-material personality means that which is opposite of matter, means which is spiritual. So opposite of matter is spirit. So that's called spiritual. So let's see the first proof. Common sense. When a person dies, we say he or she has passed away. But who has passed away? The body is still there, right? So when somebody dies, we say, no, वो चले गए हैं, वो चल बसे हैं, or ho withdrew. Like this, we generally in all languages we say the same thing. He has gone, but who has gone? See, if we analyze scientifically, before death and after death, all the particles and molecules in the body are intact, right? So 1 second before death and 1 second after the death, what's the difference between living body and dead body? Right? All the molecules are there, all the particles are still there. So who has gone? None of the element has gone, but who has gone? So the soul has gone. That's the answer, right? So Raghuram is typing here, the soul, correct. So we cannot see the soul going. So that's why we cannot understand that the soul has gone, but the soul has left. Now even the definition of death is also very ambiguous. According to medical science, what is death? Death is the time when all the organs of the body stop functioning. When the brain stops functioning, when the heart stops functioning, that point is called as death. But actually death is because even though the brain is dead, brain is not functioning, still a person was alive. So there is an article which I have read, which came in one of the web pages. It said that this person, he was not having brain because his brain had to be removed because of some surgery, but still he was able to live. He was able to walk and talk. How is this possible? Because the soul is still present in the body, and the soul is powering the body and it's functioning it. So then what is the definition of death? Is it when the organs stop functioning? No, the definition of death means when the soul leaves this body and goes out. So that is the actual definition of death according to Bhagavad Gita. So that first point is common sense. Who has gone? The soul has gone. Let's see the second point. Consciousness is the second point. Consciousness means to be aware, to be thinking, feeling, willing, and intentionality. So that is consciousness. See here, these two couple, they are remembering their happy memories, right? And they can see this wonderful red color, the sunrise time, and they can relish this moment, and they can recollect and be happy remembering this moment. But on the other hand, a camera which is capturing this scene, it can just capture the scene and tell it as no, it's red color, but it cannot experience feelings of happiness, isn't it? So what makes us different from camera is consciousness. And what is consciousness? Consciousness is the symptom of soul. Consciousness is not there in dead body. Like I have this bottle here. If I take this bottle and beat it, does it retaliate? No, because it has no consciousness. But if somebody comes and pinches me, I'll immediately retaliate. Hey, why are you pinching me? Isn't it? Because I have consciousness, right? Now, when you hit a stone, stone doesn't retaliate because stone has no consciousness. Now, trees. Do trees have consciousness? What do you say? You can type in the chat box. Yes or no? Does a tree or a plant have consciousness? Yes. Manasa is telling yes. Yes. Rashikar is telling no. Okay. So now those who are saying yes, how can you prove that trees have consciousness? Maybe you can speak here. You can unmute and speak. How do you prove that the consciousness is present? Why trees have consciousness?
Prabhu, there have been instances wherein people have sensed, scientists have sensed that trees and plants react to external stimuli.
Yes, correct. I think it is Jagdish Chandra Bose who did an experiment.
Yes, first one was to do that was Jagdish Chandra Bose.
Yes, he did that experiment to show that plants also have life. Plants also have consciousness, right? So even if you see the plants, they bend towards the sun, right? So it means they're leaning towards, the energy is coming from here. And another point is there are some plants which have got consciousness, like touch me not. When you touch it, immediately it shrivels because Vaishali Mataji is typing here that touch me not plant, correct? So, and they release some gas when anyone touches, correct? So rainy time trees are to be fresh and happy. Yes, when it rains, the trees grow very fresh and they give a lot of leaves and it looks green, right? So it shows that plants also have consciousness. Means plants also have soul. Okay, so that's second symptom, consciousness. We also consciousness. If ant is going on my back, immediately I can come to know because I have consciousness, Chetana. And that consciousness of the soul is there throughout this body. In any part of the body, something happens, I'll immediately come to know because of consciousness. But when the soul leaves, there is no consciousness in the body. It's called dead body. Let's see the third one, near-death experience and out-of-body experience. So near-death experience means, let's say out-of-body experience. A person in out-of-body experience feels as if he's coming out of his body and seeing himself from outside. Especially during operation, one patient, he was in anesthesia and doctors operated his heart, and after he came back to consciousness, he was able to narrate all the instances which happened during the operation. That doctor, you came and you cut my skin and then you cut my ribs and you opened heart and then you did this surgery, it took about this much time. Everything was explained in detail. So how was it possible to explain? Means he was able to see how? Through his subtle body. So his subtle body, his gross body is lying on the bed, but subtle body came up and he was observing himself being watching. So 11 to 14% of the average American population who are mentally and physically healthy have got out-of-body experiences. It's a medical journal. current problems in pediatrics. So I'll show you one video here. So you can watch this
In
video.
Germany, Christina's doctors are also losing their battle. Her heart will not restart. She has just minutes before her brain too shuts down.
Is er een defibrillationsschok
We were trying to jumpstart her heart with a defibrillator.
om slapen te brengen. Gleichzeitig
We gave her several drugs.
zaten mehrere medicamenten. De patiëntin had te veel
The patient had lost too much blood. Her organs weren't getting enough.
Kein Mensch und ich am wenigsten
We really didn't think we could save her.
sein können.
Because Christina's heart has stopped pumping, many would consider her dead. Yet something seems to be happening with her mind.
Das nächste, was ich wieder weiß, ist, ja, dass ich wohl unter der Decke.
Thing I know, I was hovering underneath the ceiling of the room. I could see down on myself laying on the operating table, and I saw the surgeons and heard them talking to each other. The scenario was pretty hectic. I realized that this was about life or death.
To help understand near-death experiences, some researchers focus on the content of these episodes.
A common element that occurs early in near-death experiences is what's called an out-of-body experience. At that time, the person seems to be able to see and hear things going on, but up from the vantage point above their body.
Yeah, so that was out of body experience, and which has been proven, and even the US and American doctors have proved it. So out of body experience is possible because the soul goes out of the body and comes back again. Like it is something like what happens in a dream. Like when you go to sleep, when you sleep, sometimes we dream, and we dream that sometimes we are in Paris, in Eiffel Tower, watching the Eiffel Tower, or sometimes we may be in Shimla or some very nice different place. So, and when you wake up, you are in this body, right? So similarly, the soul can travel out of the body and again come back and enter the body. But if soul goes and doesn't enter the body, that's what is death, right? That as good as death. So let me share the screen. So many books are published about near-death experience and out-of-body experience. So there are so many books published here, as different authors, right? So if this topic is of such an interest, that so many books have been published. Another thing, another proof, fourth one is reincarnation research. So Dr. Ian Stevenson, Carlson Professor of Psychiatry, the University of Virginia, has extensively investigated over 2,000 cases of spontaneous reincarnation memories. Okay. So this is another proof, past life memories. So I will show you one video. So many books are published about past life memories by different authors. The case of reincarnation, past life, 30 cases, 30 most convincing cases of reincarnation. So maybe after this session, I'll share you a PDF file of one of this book, which you can go through at your free time. Not only in Hindus, but even in Christians and Muslims, there are cases of reincarnation. So it's universal phenomenon. So what Bhagavad Gita is teaching is universal truth. It's not specific to any religion. So next is phobias. Phobias come from past life. What is phobia? Phobia means fear of something. Phobias are related to mode of death of the person whose life is being remembered. Dr. Ian Stevenson. Like in the past life, if somebody has died because of drowning in water, then he will have hydrophobia, fear of water. He will not like to go inside water or ocean. So another point is the twins. So these two people, boys, look alike. They look almost similar. Why they look similar? Because of they're having, like, how the twins are formed. There's one egg and one sperm. It comes and meets together, and then the zygote is formed, and that splits into two. And from them, two children are born, and both look alike, right? So both have same DNA. So if their DNA is same, their nature also should be same. But we see that their temperaments are different. Right? One person, if he is soft, other may be hard. Some person likes sweets, other person may like sour or salty items. So when they are genetically same, why there is difference in temperament? So the difference in temperament is due to different souls in each body. So this person's soul and this person's soul both are different. So one soul has come from some different place, another soul has come from some different past lives. So they have different nature. So that's how we can understand. I know one twins, they look alike, but one has become an engineer and another has become a doctor. Right? They're not alike, means their likings are not same because they have different past lives. Right? So I'll show a video of a pilot who survived World War II, and he remembered what happened to him during the World War. So he was fighting against the Japanese. So in that fight, he was killed, and then
They have the same name and boyish good looks. James M. Houston.
That I will share the screen.
Raised in the Midwest, James M. Leininger, a young boy from the Bayou.
Whoa! There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can read the Japanese easy as pie.
Initially, what caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
And every night he slept with his G.I. Joe action figures, which he named.
I took him to the Cannonball Flight Museum.
Here's home video. Well,
so this James boy, since childhood, he had a fascination for aeroplanes. And he knew everything about the aeroplanes, how to drive it, how to fly it, how to check it, how to service it, everything he knew. So the parents are fascinated how he is having such liking for aeroplanes.
the other kids casually look at the plane, 2-year-old James seems to inspect it. Watch as he checks the underbelly, then climbs inside, donning the headset.
I said, oh, look, there's a bomb on the bottom. He said, that's not a bomb, that's a drop tank.
Bouncing about in the cockpit, James was flying high. That night, their world would change forever.
He started having the nightmares, and that was my first indication that there was something wrong. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had this same terrible nightmare.
So he is getting dreams that somebody is shooting him, somebody is blasting his aeroplane, right?
4 to 5 times a week. He was too young to explain the dream, but he could draw.
Bombing ships, you see men parachuting.
So he started drawing the war field, how there was war going on and his aeroplane was being shot.
Here's another one where planes are dropping bombs.
He would just be crying. He'd say, airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out. He laid on his back and kicked up at the ceiling, and he goes, Mama, the little man's going like this. And he laid on his back and kicked his feet up. The little man's going, ooh, 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 can't get out. And I said, well, who's the little man, baby? And he goes, me. I thought Bruce and I were just going to faint.
They questioned, what kind of plane?
Corsair.
Why did your airplane crash?
My plane was shot down.
Who shot your plane?
He looked at me like I was a village idiot. He said,
the Japanese. I kept thinking, where's he getting this? I was a stay-at-home mom, so I know that there wasn't anything that he was being exposed to.
Not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, James Houston grew up with the same insatiable fascination with airplanes. He became a naval fighter pilot and fought in World War II. March March 3rd, 1945, during a mission near Iwo Jima, he took a direct hit. At age 21, was declared missing and presumed dead.
Where did he take off from a boat?
Do you remember the name of your boat? He said Natoma.
And several thousand hits on the word Natoma.
The USS Natoma Bay launched into battle, headed for Iwo Jima in the fight for Lady Gaul.
It's the biggest naval battle in the history of the world.
Leo Pyatt served on the ship. From his home in Ohio, he organizes the Natoma Bay reunions. That's how Bruce found him.
I wanted to disprove it.
He asked a few questions about, did I know some of the people? Oh yeah, I remember those people. And so he got very quiet.
It was all real. The people and places James described actually existed. And remember those G.I. Joe dolls that James named? Turns out 3 men with the same names, first and last, served on the Natoma and were killed in action. James said they greeted him in heaven after his crash.
So the boat in which the aeroplanes were taking off, 3 people by the same name James were there, and he was one of them, and all 3 had died.
I'd always asked him, do you remember what your name was? And he always said James, but his name is James.
Yes, there was a Jim Houston, or rather large shell, just hit him in the engine and it burst into flames.
So this person was the same, he was a friend of James in his World War II. He was his friend in the same boat.
And went down.
They showed Leo the drawings.
He was right on the nose. I'm sure, in my mind, that he was there.
Leo invited James, now 3, to the reunion. James recognized several pilots, even called them by name.
You're Bob Greenwald. I'm serious.
He never met Bob Griffin.
No, he never met him before.
And someone else was invited. James Houston's sister, Anne.
And he goes, it's not Anne, it's Annie. She wasn't my oldest sister. I had an older sister than that. And I said, you did? Who was that? And he goes, Ruth. I mean, Ruth.
Annie is what they called me when I was little, knowing my name and my sister's name. Things that my brother did when he was a kid.
So she was a sister in the past life. She is old now.
It's too amazing to describe how he would feel that way, but he does. He considers me his sister.
But does she consider James her brother?
I think it's probably a reincarnation of my brother.
Anne was so touched. She gave James items from her brother's final effects.
The little George Washington bust had been on my brother's desk all through school.
I said, where's the statue? So I put it on my desk.
As James gets older, his memories of James Houston and the nightmares are beginning to fade. But his knowledge of airplanes and his passion for flying continues to soar.
The Corsair was my favorite fighter. The Corsair was fast. Agility was very good.
Why him?
James has never said anything about why he's here.
One of God's unexplained mysteries.
Suzanne Stratford, Fox 8 News.
Hare Krishna. So that is an interesting story of the reincarnation, right? So that is past life memories. So let's go ahead to another story. Yeah, let's see what some great philosophers say about reincarnation. Famous scientists also believe in reincarnation. Benjamin Franklin, finding myself to exist in the world, I believe I shall in some shape or other always exist. John Adams, those souls who revolted against God were placed here to transmigrate through various species of animals, birds, reptiles, etc. Socrates, I am confident that there truly is such a thing as living again and the living spring from the dead. When a person who is dead, he again comes back alive because the soul never dies. So this concept of soul is there in all philosophies. Let's take an Indian story. So there was a girl called Shukla. So this Shukla story is also it was researched by Dr. Anne Stevenson and he published it in his book. So Dr. Shukla Gupta She was a small child, but when she was very small, about 5 years old, so Sri Sen Gupta was her father. Okay. So when she was small child, she was telling that, don't call me Shukla. My name is Meena. Don't call me Shukla. I said, why? We are giving you the name Shukla. No, my name is Meena. My village is Bhatpara, not this village. This story is somewhere in Bengal. So please take me there. So then they were wondering, and they did research, and they found out actually such a name, such a village exists. So they said, let's go. So family members they took and went to that village. And when they landed from the bus, Shukla said, come with me. I will take you to the place. So Shukla started leading and went through all the gullies and then came to the house. And the house was of Shri Amritlal Chakravarti. Amritlal Chakravarti was her Sasur in the past life, right? Father-in-law. And when she entered the home, she was able to recognize her previous lifetime house, her mother-in-law, brothers-in-law, husband, and daughter. And now daughter was elderly, Shukla was small. Shukla was 5 years old, daughter must have been about 10 years old. Indicated Shri Haridan Chakravarti as her husband. So she's pointing out husband, a father-in-law, and mother-in-law, and daughter, and even nicknames also. So this is the way she recognized. Means what? In the past life, she stayed in that home. Not only that, but mother-in-law said, go and find your favorite sari. She went and picked up her favorite sari in her locker and told, this is my favorite sari. Then they're fully convinced that she is the same daughter-in-law who has come again as Shukla. So this is a real case. Like this, there are so many cases of reincarnation. So this concept is explained here in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. So, is my voice clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. So, as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up old and useless ones. Like vasa means vastra, the dress. When the dress becomes old and torn, we give it up and take a new dress. Similarly, when the body becomes old, the soul throws his body and takes a new dress, new body, right? So when the old body becomes old, means what? All the teeth are gone, all the eyes cannot see, ears cannot hear, the heart is weak. So when the body becomes old, the soul throws it and takes a new young body, child's body, right? So that concept is explained here in Bhagavad Gita 2.22. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर् ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहर्यर्ते न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Right? Somebody who is dead will come back again to life. Now we are living, we will also die one day, and again be born again. So like this. Therefore, in unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Bhagavad Gita 2.27. Right. So now the question comes. Now till now we are discussing that. Okay, we go to the next life. The reincarnation happens. So on what basis do we get our next body? That's the question, right? So the body which we get depends upon what we remember at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaundeya sadatat bhava bhavita. Right? If somebody is very angry, then he may become an angry animal. If somebody is cultivating characteristics of monkey, he may become like a monkey. Somebody is becoming like a cat, behaving like a cat, they may become a cat. Right? So it depends on what activities we do in this life, we get our next life. Mainly by two things. Two factors determine our next life. First thing, the desires which we have in the mind. Okay. And second thing is good or bad karma. Two things determine our next life. So if you do good, we are elevated to better life. If you do bad activities, sinful activities, we are elevated to demoted to lower life. So mainly sinful activities of 4 types, 4 pillars of sinful life: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. And meat eating means causing violence to other living entities and eating their flesh. That is sinful, and because of that, the whole world is suffering now, isn't it? So that is sinful. That leads to diseases. Intoxication means taking drinks, alcohol. That's also sinful, because after drinking alcohol, one loses his balance, right? His mental balance is lost, and it's bad for health. Drinking alcohol causes problem in the liver, causes liver damage. Gambling, by gambling one wastes money and one loses money. That's why one should not gamble. And illicit sex. Illicit sex means sex outside the marriage, right? So that is illicit. Sex within marriage is for producing children is bona fide, but sex outside of marriage, that's called illicit sex. And sex before marriage, that's also illicit sex. So these are the 4 pillars of sinful life. So these 4 pillars will lead one to animal life or a lower species of life, birds or plants or tiger, like that. But if on the other hand one follows pure life, voluntary restraint of, like follows austerity, does tapasya by eating only vegetarian food, by drinking milk and pure items, so he gets unending happiness. Sacrifice, doing yajna. God has given us energy, He has given us wealth, He has given us money, He has given us intelligence. So using it in Lord service, that's called sacrifice. So here doing chanting, doing arati for the Lord, offering naivedya to the Lord. So this is sacrifice to the Lord. Cultivating knowledge, like all of you are attending Bhagavad Gita classes, reading Bhagavad Gita. So by this, also one cultivates knowledge and promotes himself to higher life. Association with saintly people, right? By associating with saintly people, one gets good vibrations, one gets good desires. Then one will promote himself to higher life. So we are here now. This is a staircase. Life is like a staircase. If one follows the spiritual master, studies Vedas, follows austerity, sense control, spiritual knowledge, he goes back to spiritual world. But if he becomes attached, proud, ignorant, anger, greedy, lusty, then he will go to lower species of life. He will go down the ladder. Right? So that's why we should try to follow the upper ladder, not the lower ladder. Then our life will be glorious. So we'll end this session with this last slide of what are the benefits of soul awareness in our life. First benefit, acquiring divine assets and freedom from demonic nature. That's the first benefit. And by knowing the soul, we'll cultivate the qualities of soul. So we'll become divine and demonic nature will go away. Freedom from lamentation, fear and illusion. How? Because I know that I'm eternal, I never die. So fear is gone. Similar lamentation of what happens with the body is gone. And illusion about the present is gone. Because I know that I'm spirit soul and I'll continue to exist in the future. Universal brotherhood. And nowadays countries are fighting among themselves, thinking themselves to be enemies. But actually when you understand that I am also soul and the person born in the other country is also soul. So we both are soul. Why should we fight? We are all children of God. Everybody in this world is children of God. Not only humans, but even plants, animals. They are also brothers and sisters. So that universal brotherhood comes when you understand the concept of soul. Positive outlook and attitude to life. Then we'll learn the art of science and mantra meditation. And the mantra meditation or meditation is a food for the soul. By taking that food, soul becomes happy. And the right use of resources will not unnecessarily exploit the resources of the nature, because our body needs very less things to survive. So we'll optimally use the resources of this world and do not exploit others. Right. So these are the benefits of knowing the science of soul. Right. Otherwise, we keep discriminating. No, he is white, he is black, he is American, he is Indian. This discrimination comes because of physical appearance. But actually, we are not this physical body. We are soul within. So by understanding this knowledge, we get universal brotherhood and peace in the world. So that's the importance. So till now we discussed about the science of soul. In the next session, tomorrow, we'll discuss this topic. Does God really exist? And we'll see whether God really exists from some scientific evidences. Okay. Thank you very much. So I hope you followed whatever I shared with you. And if you have any questions on this, you can ask. I had seen one question. Prashant was asking previously that I think it's about near-death experience, out-of-body experience. Maybe it is coming from subconscious mind. So what is subconscious mind? Subconscious mind means it's already the impressions which are stored in the mind because of our experiences throughout our life. Whatever we have done till now, all the experiences are stored in the mind, and that go deep into the mind. That's called subconscious mind. But here, this person in the operation theater, he was able to describe what happened just few hours before, isn't it? And he was fully unconscious in anesthesia. And when he came back to consciousness, he was able to describe in detail every step of the operation. So that could not be from subconscious mind because he was sleeping when the operation was happening. So even while in anesthesia, he was able to describe. Means it's not coming from subconscious mind. He just recently saw it. So that is out of body experience.
Prabhuji,
yes.
if I may interject in between.
Yes.
This is like we were talking about out of body experience in a surgery scenario wherein the patient is reportedly unconscious.
Yes.
So that is the logical part. That is the anything but the subconscious. That part of brain is shut down, and the subconscious is still on. Okay. So could it be possible that he or she, the patient, must have heard? Now hearing cannot be stopped just like that. So they must have heard the doctors.
Yes.
That is my question.
So hearing cannot be stopped, but he is able to see also. He is able to describe what happened throughout the operation, right? And I can show you another video where I have it here, but I can share it with you on WhatsApp. So where the patient was also put earbuds and high decibel sound was also injected so that she cannot hear. And then she was also able to describe out of body experience to the doctor. So the hearing was stopped and consciousness was brain was stopped. Still, the patient was able to describe. So how do we explain this? So this also proves that the soul came out and was able to see himself being operated. Right. So I can share that article with you on in the group. I can share the everybody on the group. Okay, so you can watch that video. That's about Pam Anderson, Pam Reynolds. She went to operation where her brain was cooled and made to stop because the complex surgery is supposed to happen near the neck. So that will happen only when the brain stops. So they stopped the brain, then operated, and then she came back to consciousness. Then she was able to describe. So which is not possible by subconscious mind. So does that help, Prashant?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So Alex is asking, killing and hurting someone is the biggest sin. Yeah, that's true. Right? Like if somebody comes and breaks the glass window of your home, or breaks the door, or comes inside and starts wrecking the kitchen, so it's inconvenience, right? So because you're staying in that home, if somebody is breaking it, it's inconvenience. Similarly, if we cause damage to the body, it's inconvenience for the soul. Because the soul is the resident of this body, so we should not cause inconvenience to this body. Shantanu is asking, will the human race be more sinful after half centuries of Kali Yuga than today? Yes, the Kali Yuga is going to increase. Already you are able to see so many sinful activities going on, but the sins are going to increase further. But it is also said in Brahma Vaivarta Purana that the 10,000 years within Kali Yuga will be better. And the 10,000 years is the period which is now going on. Kali Yuga is for 4,32,000 years. That's the entire duration of Kali Yuga. Out of the 10,000 years will be a golden age. After that, sins will increase like anything. Right. So what we are seeing now is mild sin. But after some time, sins will increase like anything tremendously. So Raghuram is asking, can someone leave body consciously? Yes, that's possible. Only yogis can do this. The yogis have got the strength. They can sit in meditation. They can raise their prana vayu from the lower kundalis, lower chakras. They can raise the prana shakti to the higher chakras, then to the top of the head, and from here they can burst the Brahmarandra and go to the desired destination. So they choose to leave the body and go to a specific destination. That's possible only by yoga. How Vaishali is asking, how do soul take its journey? Yeah, so when the soul dies, the soul is, if the soul is sinful, he is taken to Yamaloka, where the judgment is given that how, what kind of punishment should be given to you. And if the soul is good, then he is taken to higher planets like Swargalokas. And if soul is a devotee, is spiritual, then he is taken to Vaikuntha Loka by Garuda. Garuda comes and takes. So different destinations for different souls. Okay, so it depends upon what kind of activities he has done, what kind of desires he has cultivated, that he will go to different destination. So if he's going to Yamaloka, Yamadutas will come, put a noose around his neck and pull him and take him. And they give him a body called Preta Sharira. So in Preta Sharira, they will take him to the Yamaloka. And Devaloka, they will give him a divine body and take him to Devalokas or Swarga. And when he's going to spiritual world, he'll go in the spirit form. He'll leave the gross body and material subtle body here. Gross body, subtle body remain here, and spirit soul, only the soul goes back to Vaikuntha Loka. Okay. So what to do for serious concentration? Our mind changes its thought every 10 seconds. Yeah, that's correct. So the mind has got many thoughts. It is said that there are about 60,000 thoughts crossing the mind every day. So there are a lot of thoughts happening in the mind. So what one should do, Krishna gives the solution in the 6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that how one should do yoga, right? So how one should develop concentration. So first, to develop concentration, we should have a good physical health, right? So then one should sit in a very clean place, and one should sit erect. Then one should keep your mobile, WhatsApp, all the things away, distracting things away, and one should sit alone. And then one should fix his mind on God. Okay, so some people try to meditate on nothing. That's very difficult. But one should try to meditate on one fixed thought. So that's called meditation. And the best thought to meditate is the thoughts of God. Either you can meditate on the form of Lord or the mantra of the Lord. And it is practically experienced that chanting the mantra of the Lord is best one. So when you chant the mantra, like I personally chant this Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you chant the mantra and you fix the thought on hearing this mantra. So just try to don't think of any other thought. If thought goes if the mind goes to some other thoughts, you pull it back. And again try to focus. So whenever mind goes away, we can pull it back. So in this way we can increase our concentration. Okay. I don't know your name. Here some number is coming instead of your name. Rashikar is asking, is karmas decided by my soul? Is good or bad? Yeah. Like soul is always good. But because the soul is now in this body, through this body it's doing something bad. Right? So it has acquired bad nature. Now we have to clean the bad nature. Right? Like sometimes the gold falls in a gutter. Now gold is always pure, but now it has fallen in a gutter. Then what do? You take it and wash it, and again you get pure gold. Right? Put soap and nicely clean it, and pure gold. Similarly, soul, has now fallen into this matter, so it has acquired bad qualities. So what we have to do, we have to clean the soul. How to clean the soul? By connecting ourselves to God, by chanting the names of the Lord, by worshipping the Lord, surrendering to the Lord. One should again clean oneself. So then he again becomes gold-like, very pure. So now because we have acquired this bad nature, material body, one does some bad activities. So one should withdraw from doing those bad activities consciously and focus on cleaning our heart. Right? So that is wanted. So does it answer your question, Rajshekhar? You are raising your hand. If you want to speak, you can unmute and speak. Okay, thank you so much, Rajshekhar. Some of you have written in the chat privately to me that you want to ask personal questions. So that's also possible. We can schedule a personal meeting. There you can ask personal questions. So we'll work out with you. Generally, I don't use a WhatsApp. I use my phone. I can type my number here. So maybe you can call on this number or text me. So, and if I'm free on that time, we can have a discussion. Okay. Arshab Agarwal is asking, which is better, chanting the mantra inside the mind or aloud? So, the mantra in murmuring is better. Called japa, and murmuring the mantra is called japa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is very soft chanting, right? So chanting in the mind is called manasik japa. Chanting with the lips is called japa, and chanting loudly, that's called kirtan. So chanting in the mind is recommended for those who are very pure in their mind. But for general public, japa and kirtan are recommended. Japa is simply you sit silently in a secluded place and you murmur the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. And murmur the mantra so that only you are able to hear. That's called soft chanting. That is recommended. Because if we do it in the mind, we may sometimes mind may go off here and there, and we may also maybe sleep also because we are chanting in the mind. That's why we should make soft noise, soft sound through the lips. And kirtan is loudly chanted. We sing also. We do mridang, kartal, kirtan. Like this Sunday evening, we are having a kirtan program. This Sunday prerna program is kirtan program. So we have called a very specialist kirtaniya. So from 6:30 to 8, he will be speaking on the relationship between kirtan and spirituality. And he will also perform some kirtan, which all of you can participate in. Okay. So Sitaram is asking why we believe in God. So this will answer tomorrow. That how can we believe in God? That we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, all of you, for participating in this program. And yesterday we had given a quiz, and some of you have attempted it. I think, let me just check. I think around 11 responses I have got. So I thank all of you, Gunjan, Ravindra, Shiva, Prashant, Gokul, Lohit, Manasa, and Vishali for attempting this quiz. So most of you attempted the quiz rightly, but one small confusion was there. Where is the soul? Soul is in the heart, the region of the heart, or soul is there between the eyebrows? Actually, according to Bhagavad Gita, the soul is there in the region of the heart, here in this region. Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. So that's the authentic statement of Bhagavad Gita. Soul is not here. Soul is in the region of the heart. That is the statement given in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, is there any new person coming today for the first time?
Subham came, bro. Subham. He is, I think, 9287.
Acha. Okay, he's Shubham.
And one more, Aditya Pandey. He is also my friend.
Okay, so welcome Aditya and Shubham to this Bhagavad Gita course. I hope you enjoyed today's session. So we look forward to seeing you again. Hare Krishna. So anybody others coming for the first time?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Arshad Agarwal. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Where are you from?
Sir, I am from Raipur, Chhattisgarh, but I came to ISKCON also, sir, once.
Okay. Okay. You came.
I have met you.
Oh,
I don't know, you might have remember or not.
Are you friend of Kanak? You know Kanak?
Yes, Prabhuji, from Kanak, sir.
RNS IT, I think.
Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. So if you like these programs, you can introduce this program to your friends also. They can also be part of this. As Rajshekhar, you have some question, you're raising your hand. Okay, so thank you. We'll end here today and we'll meet again tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And one more thing. Just wait for a minute. Some of you are
Hare
asking
Krishna,
for
Prabhuji.
recordings. Some of you are asking for a recording. I just wanted to know how many of you want this recordings, audio, video. Just type on the poll. I have sent you a poll. Yes. So 3 of you say yes, and some of you want video, some want audio. Okay, 8, 9. So 3 more people are remaining to poll. Okay, 10 people polled. Okay. You want the recording, so should you put it on YouTube or should you put it on Google Drive? So YouTube is better. We have YouTube is better. Okay, so and we can share the link with you, then you can use it. Okay, thank you. So most of you want video, so we'll put it on YouTube. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. We'll end here.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.